Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here. Let me do a check. Good. Sitting, thinking, chilling. Late in the afternoon. Sun is going down, and some neighbors are chatting together with some friends, and you just do what I always do for me. Is thinking about ways that can bring joy to all of our lives. All of our lives mean anybody who's being denied their joy. It seems so. And I sit here and I'm thinking. I'm thinking about life, getting close to the spiritual energies of life that would be constant from the beginning throughout all times, I would imagine. And so I'm here and I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about the systems, specifically the system that we live under. But I don't think he was talking about democracy at that time. He was talking about like at the beginning when it comes down to that book, the Bible. And I'm thinking that as I sit here and look through these trees and see this cloud and this little bit of sun as it sits going behind the clouds and looks magnificently beautiful. And I'm thinking, we don't know how this earth got here. In truth, the majority of us don't know anything about this earth that talks about its creation. And so I'm just thinking, then I think about the book, it'll come up there in my thoughts. And I say, they said that God made man in his image. And for all my life, I've accepted that when I was going to church and stuff like that, preaching, stuff like that. But then it hits me later on. God made man in his own image, suggesting that God is like a man. A man. Sometimes you just start thinking, you think a earth, a tree, a cloud, a man? Whoa, stuff like that across your mind. But you don't think when you're being indoctrinated. You just listen over and over and over again until you accept it. But the odd thing about that, as I think about it, is that they not only showed and gave us a thought of God being a man, but he wasn't just any kind of man. He was a white man with that silky hair, and I guess sometimes the eyes are blue. I really don't know. And you know what it means to you as you've seen it. So describe it for yourself. Now, what was that for? Well, to put them in a position that no one else was in the position of, made them like God. Nobody else was looking like that. And they told us that. And we accepted that. Then they told us all kinds of stuff. They told us that God was a wonderful God. Then they told us God allowed slavery and stuff like that. Well, I'm not. I've learned not to put that on God. I know where that comes from. That comes from human beings not having an understanding of God. But they did it nonetheless. And you sit here and you think about the wars that are being fought at this present time, and you think about who's doing the killing, who's trying to defend, and you think about the ones that's doing the killing have the capability, and usually they got the biggest gun, usually, and they're fighting weaklings. But they told us that there was a David somewhere fighting a giant, a little boy fighting a giant, throw him down. Now, me myself, I have no problem with that. I believe that in a heartbeat. I believe that in a heartbeat. Let me tell you something. You do the right thing, you don't have anything to worry about. Let me just step away from that story just for a minute. See how I learned my lesson. When I was growing up, I defended anybody that was being bullied. I couldn't take it. I don't care how big you were. I don't care. I would if I thought you bullying somebody or somebody didn't want to fight, you gonna make them fight, or you were fighting a girl or something like that. That couldn't happen around me, and I never lost a fight. Never ever lost a fight. Growing up in my life, I didn't ever lose a fight. But one day, school wasn't in, so we were just out playing some in Mississippi, playing some basketball on the side, sandlot basketball. And there was a lady coming down the street. She's one of the teachers. And now we're teenagers. In my mind, I'm thinking, wow, I don't know if my mind was crazy, I suppose. No, my mind was lustful. And I decided that I wanted to impress this lady as she passed by. So all of us were teenagers. Some of us were bigger than some of, well, I wasn't that great big guy because I'm not now. So, but as she was getting closer to the game, I started trying to start something. And all of a sudden, I'm becoming the bully. I'm becoming the bully. And as she got, the closer she got, the more bully I wanted to express. I wanted to get her attention. I wanted her to see me being masculine in front of her amongst these guys and dominating. By the time she got there, then it was ready to start. And the guy that I chose, I think, the biggest guy. And I started shoving and trying to get in the hit and stuff like this. Next thing you know, that guy had put a hand around and hit me dead in my nose, and I froze. That thing hurt me like nothing I ever felt in my life. But I tried to hang on. She didn't even pay attention to it. 'Cause I guess at a bit, she had, as I said, she's a lady, and we were teenagers, youngsters. So just kept on. Man, when she got past us, I stopped that and I ran around the corner, which is about two houses to my uncle. And I told him, this guy hit me in the nose. Help. That's the only fight I ever lost, the fight I started. So I can be cautious when I think about America trying to bully people. Because I know if you're right and you just stand up for what's right, you just can't lose if you're right. Anyway, I'm here enjoying, and I'm thinking about what's happening, outside of the killing, thinking about the pain and suffering, the poverty that people have to go through in various countries. I'm thinking about them trying to escape the hard conditions wherever they come from, and they've heard somewhere. How the missionaries used to go places and tell the people how wonderful God is, America's of God, and all that kind of stuff. And you got the pictures and everything showing God wonderful, white, wonderful. And so times got rough, and people have got desperate. They found some way to find their way to a place where said it was wonderful. They heard it was. Like people leave the South, want to go up north, or go to Detroit, someplace, get better jobs, better way of living. So these people want to go to a different country. Get out of the number they in. But they go where they heard God reign somehow. And for a while, it does. And more so for certain people than others. But as things get so desperate outside of these borders, and more people start to amass here, then it could be strain. It could put a strain, and it's supposed to put a strain if it does put a strain. But what is the solution? This is the opportunity for the human race to express itself. What is the human race going to mature and grow and learn how to deal with the situation, even though it might have cause a manifestation of something that they don't know nothing of? but it got to work. Or they just give in to the status that they, whatever it is that prevents them. Maybe they're too greedy. Maybe they don't want to give up anything. Maybe they got other reasons. But whatever they are that says we don't want to advance, we don't want to mature, they're actually turning their back on life when you do that. But people have reasons for doing that, and that's what the world is doing. And especially right now, they're doing it in America. Like, ooh, we. I mean, they're not even trying to hide it in America. They're doing it right out in America's face. They're doing it out in the face of the whole double blast the world. They are saying that we want to conquer the world and we will rob you any way we can. They in America, they got a dude that's trying to rob people. They're all heroes, you know. He want his name on that card. You want to pretend like it represents him. They'll put his head on top of somebody's body to represent. He wants the world to think, or history, whatever, to think that he was all of this. He tells you every day that he's all of this. He everything. He's everything. He's God to people who will believe that. And for you know that there are people that will believe that. You saw Christian people talking about God years ago. They were talking about how wonderful God is. They had big congregations. They were taking in big money and living big, large lives. Talking about this God. And then the same crew who was nothing but abusing people, they wanted to go there. I guess they want some of that crook of money. Lay hands on them. This crook God go do all this wonderful stuff to the crook. God do that to that crook. But the situation still remains. I was thinking today, is it possible that in the United States of America, I am the only person that have been given a vision of paradise on earth, heaven on earth, a vision that brings peace and prosperity and freedom and joy and happiness and the opportunity to live your dreams for every citizen or everybody that lives here. The one that was given that you would suffer for nothing, food, clothing, shelter, education, health care, and anything that's made by the hands of man is yours. Why? Because this whole process, you played a major role in it. It was designed that this power that you cannot see, but is responsible for this earth, knew how to fix this thing. And so every individual that's on this earth brought something to this earth because you got to participate in life. That's what it's all about, participating in life. Not just here a rock laying on the ground. You're here to do something. So everybody got a career that they chose, a career that they love. And their reward for the career that they love is that they get the greatest joy that is imaginable. So that's your reason for dealing in these careers. Not your reason, but one of your reasons is because what you're doing is so respected. What you're doing is so needed. What you're doing, my friends, makes you part of life itself. And it denies all of that other stuff. So what does it mean? It means that that's a way of life that nobody tells you about. In churches, you don't hear that. Governments, presidents, the people who want to be your rulers, they don't tell you anything about it like that. That's as simple as one, two, three. No, they got something going good that works for whoever set it up, but it doesn't work for you. And the God is supposed to free you, the truth, the love of truth is supposed to free you and give you the confidence and the courage to stand up and support the truth. Stand up, and there's no shame in the game when you're making sure that everybody's suffering for nothing, that everybody is satisfied with life. What's wrong with that? Now, am I the only man, only human being in America that's been given that message and been preaching that message and talking to you, giving you flyers, CDs, DVDs, all this country for almost 40 years? My friend, I've committed crimes trying to get attention for something to put in this way, just so I can tell you the message that I just got through sharing with you. All my friends going to prison and stuff like this just because it's so true. I know it's true. So go and sacrifice them to get you the truth. so that hopefully you can be free. No, that's God given. That's all from God. That's God's love. That's God's love for you. Nobody else is doing that. No. Look at Barack didn't do that. Donald Trump definitely didn't do it. He committed crime just like me, but he didn't want to go to jail. And he decided he was going to argue with you and not go. Why? Because he's superior to power. Me, myself, I humble myself because I understand what's going on. He doesn't. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's hard, but I hear nobody else saying any stuff like that. It worries me sometimes since I go on the internet, I'm looking, I'm searching. Where I heard something about a book once, I don't know who wrote it, but it's called A Brave New World. And I watched the movie, it was pretty good until it wasn't. But this, my friends, there's no lying, no cheating, no stealing, no killing, no terror, no war, no hatred, no racism, no bigotry. And the human race chooses that. And let me tell you, that right there, that you've chosen, that is of your hand. You the one who was able to cause manifestation of this. And the heaven on earth that I'm telling you about, it will require that you be the one that caused the manifestation of that. The devil didn't come down here and create this world, and God is not going to come down here and make that happen. Not in whatever form he's in, except a form that allows you to house it and express it. So I guess I'm saying that I'm wondering how Donald Trump feels, knowing that a black man, old tail black man from Itta Mississippi, have a vision of heaven on earth, and he Trump want to be God and can't fix any of the problems. Have no vision to fix any problem except one, and that's to put everybody off earth that he doesn't like, and that's everybody that doesn't walk through his stance. Somebody might say, "Well, God requires that." Yeah, but God's benefit, God's reward is life everlasting. Trump's death for everybody. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so very much for giving me this your time. I just wanted to share something with you. I hope I had enough time on this camera to record it all, and I hope you had some time and some interest and stayed around just to check it out. And if you did, I was just sharing my story with you. We are family. Goodbye for now.